This week on the Grand Theory podcast.
That was an abusive relationship, and I didn't recognize it until just certain things he would say. Like, I started to feel like I was crazy. I was like losing my mind. He'd be like, wear your hair like this. I want you to dress like this. I want you to do this.
Well, I'm gonna shop my shop.
1% better. Could not work. 1% better.
Did not work. Did not work.
Fried, you're sitting in me, bro.
Woo! We out here. Wait, we recording?
No, we're recording,
We
man.
live. We live in the
man.
studio.
Yes, sir.
You know, we back again.
Back at it.
Another Sunday.
Yes, sir.
With another episode
You already know.
of the Grind Theory.
Yes, sir.
You know, so just a recap. So last week we talked about the big man over here. You know, we talked about how he was getting bullied, getting his provisions stolen from him daily. How he went from chubby to skinny
That's
by
facts.
getting bullied, you know, on a daily.
Yes, that's facts.
We learned about his persistence, you know, what it took for him to come to Canada, how he persevered through coming to Canada and making it through.
Yeah.
Great episode, lots of gems.
Yeah.
Also, big news. We got big news. So remember what we said on the episode before that if we got to, y'all correct me, was it 3K likes or views? Because now he's trying to
said
say,
likes.
now he's trying to switch
Now
up his whole
listen,
tone.
listen.
Now he's trying to switch up his whole tone.
I said likes, bro.
Well, yo,
I said likes.
first
man.
of all,
Come on.
I don't remember that.
I said likes. Yo, you can always watch it again.
Listen. Remember he was making fun of me. He was dissing me, saying I look like the bald man, da-da-da-da. But
It's feeling himself.
feeling myself.
It's feeling himself.
Feeling myself. But the boy is back.
It's back. For the streets.
I'm back.
For the streets. Nah, man, it's still ugly, bro.
My
Sorry,
hair
bro.
just felt low key just
Nah,
now.
flick it. Remember what I said, bro? It's balded.
Listen.
You know what?
Listen.
Listen. I'm gonna get a picture of him. I'm gonna get that side,
Listen,
the left
listen.
side, the top
Listen.
side.
Listen, he's trying to
Come on.
listen. We're back. We can come back from anything.
Yeah,
That's the whole plan, you know what I'm saying?
Yes,
from
sir.
anything.
Fact.
But we are back and we are coming to you with another episode of the Grind Theory. The whole purpose of the Grind Theory podcast is we want to go in depth into the struggle. We know that lots of people, when they face success, you only see the end result.
True.
But before getting to that end result, they have went through tons of obstacles, tons of struggles to get to that point.
Facts.
And we wanted to, the whole point of our podcast is to go in depth into the struggle and to figure out what obstacles people faced.
True.
And not just like people from all different walks of life.
Yeah.
Rappers, teachers, nurses, doctors,
Engineers.
anybody, engineers,
entrepreneurs.
anybody, athletes, anybody, right? Because everyone goes through their own, select struggles.
Facts.
And we want to dive in deep to how they overcome those struggles and what they learn.
True.
Because we feel that if we can share someone else's story about how they overcame their struggle and what they learned, it's going to be able to help somebody else out there who's going through something similar or, who just needs some advice on
Let's
that
push.
type of situation,
Fact.
So today we got a
Today's a special day.
special day.
Yes, it is.
We got a special guest.
Oh, woof.
I would say
She's the Don.
she's the Don.
The Don of the Don.
Donness.
The Donness.
You know what I'm saying? The big boss in the
big boss.
building.
And you already know.
Usually there's not bigger bosses than me and Ori in the building for the studio when we're filming.
Fact.
But today, we're going to have to give it up, just for today.
Yeah, facts.
This is my ride or die.
Yes, sir.
The
First guest of the Grind Theory
the
podcast.
first guest of the Grind Theory podcast.
Yo, that's a powerful place.
That's a powerful place to be.
Really, it is.
Very, very powerful. I hope you document this day.
You should.
You
should.
You should feel special.
It should feel very special.
Very special,
Because out of the million people out there, you're the first person.
We chose you.
Remember that.
So, we should have came in with a little theme music. Feeling myself.
I'm feeling myself. Feeling myself. Feeling myself. I'm feeling myself.
Ooh,
I'm feeling myself. Hey, look, it's gonna catch us. Catch us. Gonna catch us. Ah.
Okay. We have the one and only, hailing straight from St. Vincent and the Grenadines,
Bop, bop, bop,
sexy beautiful queen, the
Yes.
784,
bop, bop, bop.
Arlene Ambrose in the building. What is
Hi.
up, Arlene Ambrose?
Oh.
My sister.
Nothing much. I'm just here with you guys.
She's just chilling.
She's just chilling.
She's being the
just
queen.
chilling.
She's being the queen.
So today, me and Ori will get to dissect you
Yeah.
and find out. I'm not gonna lie, guys. I'm honestly a little bit nervous. I don't really know why,
I know why though.
but
Gonna bust his ass open.
I'm not really as sure why I'm so nervous. But I'm kind of nervous. Like I'm trembling a little bit. Mom spaghetti is on my knees. You know what I'm
guy's
saying?
scared,
But
bro.
I know all the secrets, ladies. So you
So-
want to listen to this episode.
It's gonna. It's gonna. Ooh.
so, anyways, without any further ado, we're
Let's
gonna
get it.
dive right into it.
Let's get it. So we know who you are, but like, yo, could you give us like a quick rundown, like to the fans, like what are you and what you do?
So I'm Arlene Ambrose, and I work as a nurse, and I write, and I create, and yeah, that's me.
Okay.
She's a multi-talented person.
Multi-talented.
Down.
Okay.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Like you guys know, so she's a nurse. That's pretty sick still.
Big ups for that. You're working in what's going on right now.
Yeah, especially with the
Shout out to all the nurses. So we appreciate you for doing that.
Appreciate that.
Being on the front lines.
Yeah. But now, how far do you want to go, my guy? Do you want to go junior high, grade? Which?
You know what? I want to go way back because you know what? I actually don't even know. So I don't remember some things because she's born before me. She's like 8 years older than me.
Yeah.
So there was a time that I don't even know about. So, what was life like before me? Because I know it couldn't have been that good. But what was life before me? You know, tell me how sad it was, how rough it is, how much you were anticipating for me to come. You know.
Well, in honesty, I was still very young. So I don't remember a whole lot, but I knew that I wanted a brother, and I actually told my parents to make both of you.
Yeah.
So I went and I'm like, Mom, Dad, I want a brother, and they're like, okay, boom, there you were.
Down. So
Same thing with my other brother.
okay, so pretty much it's saying if not for you, this man's not
You
gonna
wouldn't
do
have been born, yo. You wouldn't
Damn.
have been born.
I feel like I was the only one, you know, that was ready. You know that they wanted ready. They're plan for, you know. But it's okay. We gonna get into that today, anyways. But so at a young age, how was it? You know, you grew up in the Caribbean, in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. How was that growing up back home? You know, in the Caribbean. What was that like?
It was great. I have some great memories because I would go by Mother, which is our grandparents, like my grandmother. Actually, I have two of them, so I'd go by my two grandparents, and it was different. It seemed like not so long ago, but there wasn't like, we weren't on the internet and all that stuff. We just were climbing the plum tree, eating plums, eating mangroves, you know, getting licks, going to the beach. And that was life. And looking back on it, it was great. I don't remember having worries and cares and all that stuff until, you know, I started to get into adulthood, and that's when like life just go downhill.
Life started hitting.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you think that in today, like it's a whole different type of time for people that are growing up. Like right now, you know, like you said, you didn't have any phones and any internet, but you were still able to have lots and lots of fun. You know, it's a whole different kind of atmosphere. I feel like, as opposed to today, you know, with kids having
Phones and everything.
phones and all those different things, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's absolutely different, and I think that in some sense they're missing out. I know even when I go on my phone, you know, it's a little, it causes a little bit of anxiety, right? Because you're attached to the phone, to the messages. People expect you to respond right away. People don't know how to have conversations the same way.
Yeah.
Even like the difference, my little brother, he's like constantly on the tablet, and it's just a different skill and way of living, which I think is a little unfortunate, but I guess that's the way of the world now.
Okay, so would you say you prefer going without the phone, or like with the internet and social media, or right now, which, or like back then? So which you would prefer, growing up without it or with it, which, and why?
Ooh, that's a hard one. I would probably say more growing up without it. One, because my personality, I'm more of an introvert.
Okay.
So I don't really, for me, social media, like I'm on it and all that stuff because I want to, that's the way to interact, that's the way to get your workout. But if it was up to me, I wouldn't really have any.
Okay.
So I think there's a balance. If you can go back to how it was a little bit before, and then, have internet and stuff here and there, but not so immersed
crazy.
and crazy like how it is now.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of old school.
This is old school.
No.
Okay.
No, yeah, I feel like that helps a lot. I feel like for today, like interaction and stuff like that, because people are so engrossed in their phones and stuff all the time, it kind of hinders like in-person interaction as well, right?
True.
So I think there's some advantages and there's some disadvantages to that, right?
Yeah, there's pros and cons to it. Yeah.
To everything. So tell us about what it's like. Did you play any sports in school? Did you what was
What was it like? Were you the big dog in school?
Were you the big dog in school? Were you getting bullied? What was it like? You know?
Bullied?
You give it the don for a reason.
No. So, actually, I have a story. I was in school, and I had a little, we'll say a boyfriend at the time, but I was young.
Getting juicy.
And
Getting juicy. Let's go.
I used to bug. There was this guy in school I used to bug, right? And then one day, he just got mad. We used to bug each other all the time, but one day he just got mad, and he just came up to me, and he this is back in school, I was sitting on the desk, and he just grabbed me, and he's like, da-da-da-da-da. I don't even know what he was saying, but I was kind of laughing, because I was kind of, maybe I was bullying. Maybe I was bullying him.
So you see, she was the bully. She was the bully.
That's why she's like, I don't me getting bullied. I don't remember that.
Now that I think about it.
Damn.
Now that I think about it. And then he started chasing me around the school, and I was running. And then he caught up to me, and then he caught me, and he put me out on the wall, and he's like,
Damn.
blah, 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 blah. And I ripped his shirt. I'm like, you can't fight me. This is in the middle of school, right?
Damn.
And I'm hitting at him, kicking him.
I didn't even know this story.
Yeah, I'm kicking at him, all this stuff. And I'm if I'm going to go down, I'm going down with a fight to the death, right?
Ambrose in the blood.
And so my boyfriend at the time.
Wait, whoa.
We were young. This is
Wait. So I have a question. So are you saying you had a boyfriend and you had a different guy you were bugging?
Yeah, I had a boyfriend, and this guy, I just bugged him. I didn't like him or anything like that. I was just, no, it wasn't like that at all. I don't know.
You're just
harassed
playing
him.
up with the man.
Yeah.
Playing up with the man's
He
feelings.
didn't like his shirt being ruffled, so I thought it was funny to
He was a clean man. I was trying to keep him
Yeah,
clean.
he was always my shirt, and I used to go and just ruffle it up just for fun.
You're just bullying this guy, man.
Little young man, jeez.
He had me on the wall, and I was fighting for my life, and then my boyfriend was in a different class. We weren't even in the same class. He had to come out of his class because
Damn.
somebody told him I was getting in a fight. He had to come out of his class, but all he did was just like kind of step on the guy's foot. And then like he turned and he just let me go because like he did not.
Damn.
wanna get
So she was a Don and she had
So you were with the Don, so you became the Donness.
Yeah.
That's why.
Don and the
Because
Donness.
the man didn't even apply no pressure. The man just said, "Yo,
Yeah.
You got the memo.
yeah, you got the memo. You know what to do."
Yeah, he dropped me and he's like, I'm so sorry. And then
Damn.
like for the week, he was like, oh, you want me trying to like carry my books, wouldn't leave me alone.
Oh.
That's what I aspire to be like, man.
I was like,
Holy.
it's fine. La, 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 la. Even though I caused it. Yeah, it's terrible.
Wow.
Man had to deal with it. Had to suck it up.
Damn. That's
Damn.
crazy though.
Yeah. Shout out Sean Bob.
The Donness in the building.
So now my question now, putting back to that is, so what happened between you and the Don?
It was a tragic love story.
Wow. Wait. So would you say the Don was like your first love or whatever?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, he was.
It's from that day.
Damn.
It's honestly from that day he
Yeah,
became the
but-
first love.
yeah,
when she
he
saw the
said-
dominance,
Yeah, the
the
masculine.
man, she
Yeah,
saw
the
that
masculine.
dominance, she
That
was like,
energy.
yo, okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, girls instinctively, we like that. We know that
Drop game,
you're
drop game.
respected.
Guys, you listen to the
and,
game.
um,
Okay.
You could protect us,
Mm-hmm.
not even through fighting, but just like by your presence. So,
Okay.
I mean, I was very young at that time, so I didn't realize that at that time, but
Okay.
that is what it was.
So I saying it's like more like a natural stuff, like it's just nature.
It's nature, yeah. I think we underestimate the nature of women and the nature of men. Like men are always. I don't want to get into this now.
Nah. Remember, unfiltered.
But
Juice.
Drop
men
the
are
juice.
always like, oh, woman. They want you to. I gotta do all this stuff. I gotta buy her stuff. I gotta do X, Y, Z, and they complain about it. When it's nature, like a woman loves you because of that protection that she feels. That's why she wants to have a child with you, because she feels like, okay, you can provide and you can protect. But I think guys these days, they don't understand that, and they just whine and complain when it's nature.
So I'm trying to say this day, men are no men.
A lot of men are not. Ooh, should I say this?
Nah, it's unfiltered.
Uh,
Like, hey,
Hot take.
Viewers' discretion advised. This is an unfiltered podcast. So
You can't handle it
Can't
here.
handle
You have to come off of the
Come off it.
airway.
Okay, how I work is if I'm doing something, even if I hate it and I know like this is what I need to do to get to this end,
yeah.
I started saying I'm not gonna complain. Like I'm not gonna verbally complain. I'm gonna do what I have to do. And I feel that guys apply that to every other area in their life with work and stuff. But when it comes to women, all of a sudden they're complaining. Like, oh, I gotta do this, I gotta do this. When it's like nature. And a guy who's more dominant or is more successful, I don't think he complains the same way.
Okay.
Like he just, okay, like I want this. I know women want this, so I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna get this woman, and then he goes about his business.
Yeah.
Right? But I could also say it's vice versa. Women, we complain like, guys want us to look a certain way and all this stuff. And I had to also come to the realization that like, yeah, men, they like the way you look. So it's like, are you gonna dress up and look pretty or not?
Okay.
Okay, we're getting female perspective.
Female perspectives.
So this is what we wanted on the podcast, getting that female perspective, the other side of the game, you
Yeah.
know?
We get the male side. We give the male side
So
sometimes,
we
but
wanted
we
the
get
other
female
side.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So guys, listen. Apply it. Be masculine. Okay, so but still gotta fall back to that same question. What happened between the Donness and the Don?
Don.
I'm curious. I'm actually curious because most of the time, first love usually ends for like dumb reasons. Most of the time, so I'm curious to know what happened.
We got along really great. He was like the best boyfriend ever. Nothing happened except we went away to school.
Okay.
And I was like, so this is like love story. I'm like, I'm going to be a doctor, okay? And in 6 years, I'm going to come and meet you and we'll get married and have all these kids. La, 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 la.
Fairy
Like,
tale thing.
fairy tale.
Remember Disney?
Disney ain't real out here. Disney ain't real.
Remember go check the last episode. It's about Disney. Disney's not real.
Yeah. And he was like, okay. And then we went our separate ways. He went to the U.S. I went to Canada. And life happened. Like, I was in St. Vincent, I was in a bubble. And then I started to grow up and I experienced like real life, and he experienced life too. And I think life changed us so that our paths just didn't connect the same because like life was so difficult.
Okay.
So it's kind of like a
Okay.
unfinished story.
So do you guys still talk or no? Be honest.
I haven't spoken with him recently.
Okay.
Yeah.
So fresh.
Okay.
I know this might be personal, but like, is he single?
Is he single?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Hey,
I
we're
think-
trying to reconnect the Donna to the
That moment, man. That moment that happened in was that high school, preschool, high school?
Yeah, high school.
High school. It's cemented in her mind, yo.
I-
She never forgot it.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay, fair enough. So I'm guessing. So you guys broke up because you were leaving the country.
Yeah.
Okay, so when did you move? Did you know when you moved to Canada? Do you remember? Was he born yet?
Yes.
It was.
Yeah. So he was born in Canada, and then we moved back home.
Okay.
So I lived there for junior high.
Okay.
So I think maybe I was about
after you-
16 or 17 when I came back,
Alright,
maybe.
Okay.
Because I was
Yeah.
going to,
So how was coming into the country like for you?
yeah. What was that new experience of coming to Canada? Even though you had been in Canada prior, like before, you had been home for a while. So what was it like to come back to the new country now? And when you came back, you came by yourself, correct?
No, actually, I came with my parents.
Okay.
And wait, no. Yeah, I did come by myself.
came by yourself,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
So
you're
what was
right.
it like?
Uh,
Because if you don't know how old are you? But you said 16, 17? when you came
I
back?
was about 17.
17.
Yeah.
So how was it coming into the country like alone?
Yeah.
As in like,
It was challenging because my family, like my immediate family, wasn't here.
okay.
And I lived with relatives, and that was all right. But I grew up very, strict Christian,
Yeah.
and then I was like, ooh, some freedom. I wanted to, have a taste of
Wild
freedom.
So you still went wild?
I don't think it was that wild. Like, it'd probably be what kids do normally.
No, yeah.
But for me, it was seen as wild,
Okay.
just going to like dances and
Okay.
all that stuff. So, my aunt, I think it was kind of a struggle because, like, she knew my parents would want me to kind of behave or act one way, which was a little bit different from how her kids were. So I always kind of felt like still a little bit separated because she was trying to
Treat you differently.
honor my parents
Okay.
in that way. So if anything happened, she'd call them, and then like my parents would yell at me, and I'd be like, ugh. It's
Going
annoying.
back and forth. Okay.
My dad even flew up one time because
Damn.
I'm
Oh,
like,
damn.
yeah, I didn't know.
Oh, I
Dad
didn't
like
know. Damn.
flew up because I moved out, and like the next week or something, he flew up and like showed up at my door and was
Right.
like, "Oh,
I
this is
didn't
your
know.
new place." Blah 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 blah. And I think because I wanted to jump in Caravana, so he got on a plane one time, and came to check me.
So, also, okay, so I want to know if this was a struggle for you, because I know for me personally, it was like being a pastor's kid, right? And, having a certain standard that we're kind of held to with, just because of our religious standing, our parents' religious standing, whether it be pastor's son, you're supposed to not do this, not go there,
Yeah.
can't go to Caravana, can't do these things, right? So was that I know for me personally, it was a struggle because I'm like, oh man, I want to do these things. People are telling me that I can't do these things, and I want to do them. So it was kind of a struggle for me. I felt a lot of pressure just on myself. How was that for you? Was there any pressure for you, or were you just like, yo, I'm gonna do what I want?
No, I'm in my 30s and I still feel pressure, but it's better. It's definitely pressure. I couldn't like wear certain things, and people feel body shame, kind of like the opposite. So maybe like if they're overweight, they're ashamed of their body. But for me, it was the opposite. They'd be like, oh, like you have a sexy body, or your body's too nice. You don't like ever wear shorts. You don't ever wear white pants. You don't ever wear this. So it was kind of backwards. Like the first time I wore a bikini, I was like old. I don't know, in my 20s, and I was terrified, and like I'm just getting used to like wearing a bikini, stuff like that. Like even earrings, like I wasn't allowed to wear earrings, and I like just got my ears pierced like last year.
Damn.
Yeah, so it's I had to like unlearn backwards, and now I'm like coming into my sexiness. But people like growing up, people never believed me when I said it. I'd be like, oh, I don't want to, like my self-esteem was low because I didn't want to show my body, and like guys would always be like, oh, you're just saying that, you're just pretending that you don't know you're pretty, or you're just pretending. So I had to like deal with that as well. So yeah.
So how would you say when you were going through that, like what was your mindset at that time, and like how did you go through that? Because like a lot of people out there actually go through like self-doubt, self-image, body shaming themselves. Like how did you push yourself past that limit to where you're at right now?
Yeah, great question.
It only happened over the past couple of years.
Okay.
And so all of my 20s, I dealt with low self-esteem, self-doubt, all that stuff. And oh my gosh, you're making me like cry now.
No.
So it was basically from going through like abusive relationships, like one after the other, that one day I realized like, what's the problem here? And then I realized it's something to do with me, like why these guys think it's okay to treat me this way. So then I had to really like dive in and like separate myself from my family in a sense, go into like talk to a therapist, read books. Like I had to do a lot of things to change my mindset.
Okay. So pretty much like the biggest step you actually took was looking from within, not looking outside.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And like you also mentioned you went to therapy. So
Yeah.
that helped you, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Okay, because like I know this day and age, a lot of people are shamed from therapy. A lot of people tend to they always say this stuff. What's it called? Self-deflection. And in the sense of when you have a problem, you're always blaming other people.
Yeah.
But the thing
Taking
from
full
your story,
responsibility.
like the biggest thing is like you look from within, like yo, okay, what's my fault from this?
Yeah, my life changed. It's a thing called the dark night of the soul.
Okay.
I had dark night of the soul is like it's like you're sitting in your room, and then just like everything just like lights up, and things start happening. Maybe you might meet a person who may say something to you that like hits you in some way, and so that happened for like the week. Like people were just saying things, and then that made me realize like, oh, it's me.
Okay, so we're just gonna take a quick technical break. We're gonna be right back.
The dark night of the soul. After that, you saw a change in your mindset.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
It's basically when you reach rock bottom, and it's like there's nowhere else to go. So it's either I stay here and I stay in my mindset and I remain a victim and I remain in this life for ever, or I figure out, like something I always tell you is I take responsibility for my life. And that's when I said, I'm not gonna blame anybody else, but I'm gonna work on what I have to do. So I had to, and it's not easy because you have to uncover stuff that is not nice about yourself.
Yeah.
And like put the ego aside. So I had to do that for a long time. Just keep digging and digging, and then just when you think like, okay, I've reached it, I'm good, I'm healed, then somebody triggers you, and you're like, shit, I have more work to do. So then you go at it again. So
Would you say that it's a process that takes a lot of time, or is it is it a lifelong process, or is it just something that happens over a couple of months or a couple of years that you can just figure yourself out like that, or is it a continual process that you're figuring out? It takes every day, you're constantly figuring out new things about yourself. Oh, you know what, maybe this made me mad, or this thing, I'm still struggling with this thing, this image of self doubt, or not believing in myself.
it's a combination, because sometimes I'm trying to change. Like I was trying to get self-esteem, and I was like fighting and fighting and fighting for it seemed like years, and then like one day it just clicked. That's why when different people say the same thing, maybe when one person says it, it might not make sense, but when another person says it, it might click. So I was working on this issue for a long time, and then one day maybe I read something, or I listened to something, and that clicked. What the lady said just clicked, and I just changed overnight until the next thing happened. So I think it is a lifetime, but unfortunately, some people go through their whole life without ever even doing the work.
I think that in order to grow, you have to experience a lot of things yourself, right? You have to go through a lot of different obstacles. I feel like without going through obstacles, you're not really gonna learn. Like you're not gonna really learn lessons about yourself unless you go through obstacles, and kind of overcome them. So what I wanted to ask you was, so you said earlier that you wanted to be a doctor when when you were younger. So what kind of led you to even nursing or to trying to be a doctor? Why did you want to be a doctor? Did you want to help people, or you want to juke up people with needle? Like what?
Both.
The done.
Sometimes when like patients are being, you're like, just get that needle, ka-ching. I hope my work isn't listening to this.
With the sensitive.
No, I wanted to help people. Like, I have a nice heart, people. Hello.
I might have to say after we did that young man with the. So you wanted to be a doctor, and then you switched to nursing.
Yeah.
Because I know we're going a little bit off topic, but like I know for a fact nursing school is crazy.
Yeah.
How was that? Like,
How
because
was
I
that
know it's crazy. Because at the time going to nursing school, I'm guessing you were also going through the self, like the whole struggle of that, the mental stress, or was it
No,
like
that's
after?
recent. That only happened
Recent.
in the past probably 3 years.
Okay.
So through my 20s, I was going through all the abusive relationships.
Down.
And in my 30s was when I, started to discover myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
So could you expand on one of those abusive relationships, like kind of how it started? Because I know there's other women out there that are probably going through the similar things. So just kind of like give us insight from
Where it started.
from where it started.
Maybe you can give us the first one, and then you can give us the one that really made you go for that change.
Yeah. Made a big
Okay.
difference,
And why?
Why?
What switched?
So the first one was anybody who is in church, separating church from yourself is very difficult. And I tried to explain this to like my parents, pastors, whatever. Just because somebody is in church doesn't mean that you can trust them or whatever. And that's what I was always taught to believe. So I was like a very naive girl. I was like, just do as you're told. So anyway, I met this guy in church, and he was like, whatever. We became boyfriend and girlfriend. And
How old were you by this time? Do you remember?
I was around 19, 20.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is my first like relationship, and
Oh, it's getting deep out here. Trying to throw it.
yeah. So basically, that was an abusive relationship, and I didn't recognize it until just certain things he would say. Like, I started to feel like I was crazy. I was like losing my mind. He'd be like, wear your hair like this. I want you to dress like this. I want you to do this. And then he'd like call me names under his breath, and I'm like, what did you say? And then he's like, oh, nothing. And then so I started to think that I was like crazy. And but he is very a charismatic person. So
He's saying he has like he had the traits you mentioned early, minus the what's it called, like the providing and stuff. He had like the dominant trait.
No. Don't even compare those.
No, I'm
two.
asking because there's a difference between being confident and being cocky. So would you say it was being cocky, like an asshole, or was it being?
No, he wasn't. He wasn't. It didn't.
So charismatic.
He wasn't cocky or anything. When I first met him, he was very like bubbly and charismatic and all that stuff, right? So if I would, please don't compare it. Please do not compare my
Don't
words.
compare the down with it.
No, it's a different. No, it's different. No, it's a difference. Like the point I'm trying to make out is like those charismatic and those bubbly traits was what made you attracted to him at the time.
Yeah, at the time.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, cool. And then like behind closed doors, he was acting different. But the difficulty came when I'd start like saying like, hey, like he's kind of doing this, and people wouldn't really believe me, like because they're like, no way, like you're just exaggerating and all this stuff. So then what happens, like people say, why do women stay in abusive relationships? Because I was like I don't really know who's gonna believe me, even though it sounds like crazy to say, right? And then they make you feel like you're overreacting, which girls are told all the time, like you're being emotional, you're being all that stuff. So I'm like, oh, maybe I am just being emotional. But what happened was that I started to, and in therapy they call it dissociate. So I was under so much like emotional stress that like I kind of like broke into different sections, like the survivor person, which like Arlene, this sounds crazy, but like the Arlene part of me was like shut down, and I went into survivor mode. So I was like, I'm gonna survive, and I would just do whatever to survive. So I would like, sometimes I'd black out and not know, like I'd forget things because
just
to protect me from him.
Yeah.
So I would just like not even, he'd say stuff, I would block it out. But it would transfer into like the rest of my life because I'd start like forgetting stuff, and I was in school, right?
So would you say that I'm pretty sure it's a yes, but would you say going through that made you, did it affect school, I'm guessing?
Yeah, I had to, so I dropped out of nursing school.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
I dropped out of, so what was my breaking point? I was like having basically a mental breakdown from like the abuse. And I was like in school, and then I went to, like I was calling the crisis line, and then I ended up going to the hospital.
Wow.
And then I was like, I don't know what's wrong with me, but this is happening. And so they're like, okay, we're gonna get you some help. Do you have somewhere to go? And at that time, my parents were in Edmonton.
Okay.
And so he doesn't know this, right? Like nobody, probably maybe like
untold story.
Probably like one person or two people know this, but like I have never said this story, right?
Wow.
So I went to the hospital, and they're like, do you have somebody? And I was like, my parents are in Edmonton, and they're like, we think that you should go there. And I was like torn because I was in school. I was like, my friends, my whole family, this is in Toronto. We're in Toronto. So I packed up, and so backtrack to another thing that happened. I was at a church event,
Yeah.
and this woman, she recognized like I was acting kind of funny, and she called me and she's like, I don't usually get into people's business, and I know you guys have been together, forever, but I noticed that, she basically asked me, are you in an abusive relationship? And I said yes, and she's like, you need to get out. And like people had told me that before, but like I said, the one person's word, her words made a difference, and I was like, okay. She said that. I went to the hospital. I got into the treatment program in Edmonton. I quit school. I quit my job. I packed up my stuff, and I left within a week. And I started a whole new life in Edmonton. My parents were there. I didn't really tell them, and they didn't really ask, because I had a friend who called them and said, like, Arlene needs help. She's coming to Edmonton, so just as a heads up. And so then I started going to therapy. That's why I moved to Edmonton.
Damn.
Wow, I didn't even know that.
No, nobody knows.
Wow.
So, well, seeing that you didn't tell anybody like really about that, how was it for you to handle that kind of on your own? Because you didn't really tell anybody kind of what you were going through. So how was that handling that on your own? Like, what helped you get through that period of time?
I would say it was God. Like, I would write stuff. I'd take a board and I would write stuff on the wall. It was just because my self-esteem was like, he would just like say things to cut down my self-esteem so much that I just, like, I had no self-esteem. So I would just like post things on this board and I would pray.
Yeah.
And like, that was the only thing I think that just like got me out, like to pull me out of it. Yeah. And then I think that's when the like survivor part of me came in, and I was like, whatever it takes, like I'm gonna do whatever it takes to survive.
Yeah. So after going through that, like obviously my question is, if you could go back in time, minus the obvious one, which is avoid abusive relationship, what are certain stuff you're gonna change yourself from doing? Like, would you talk to more close friends, like, to help you, or what would you do if you could go back in time? Minus, like I said, minus the obvious one, which is avoid it. Like, what would you tell yourself?
I don't think it's not like, this is why I say that people who are like in abusive relationships, people on the outside don't understand, because it's not like I was like, oh, he's abusive, I'm gonna be with him. Like these things came out after, like later, and after you're already like hooked in and deep in.
Yeah.
And then girls are told so many times that we're being emotional and we're being this. So I just thought like, oh, okay, maybe I'm just being a girl, like, So it wasn't until later that I couldn't like function that I realized like, oh, this actually isn't right. So the only way, or the major thing to avoid that, I would say, is like having a self-esteem.
Yeah.
If I had self-esteem, and if I wasn't afraid to like be a bitch, as they would say, I was like the nice girl. So I wanted to please people. I didn't want to like make him mad or anything.
Yeah.
But if I was more like bitchy, I probably could have avoided that. Being like, no, like I don't want to do this, or like I don't care what you think of me, or
Okay.
That's just jams.
So for you to go through that kind of by yourself there, fortunately for me, when I had my my little struggle, I had you to help me kind of go
Which
through
struggle?
that. My struggle. Which
Which one? Can you be specific?
See that she's saying she's trying to diss me. She's saying there's a lot of struggles, but which is true. But I really want to know is I want to know what it was like for you, being a nurse, being on the other side as a patient when I got injured, like, because like I was saying, like when you were going through your struggle there, right? I wasn't there, I was there, but I didn't know about it, right?
Yeah.
You were kind of going through it by yourself, but for me, thankfully, I had you to kind of help me go through that struggle, because I know that if you weren't there, that it would have been very difficult for me.
Yeah.
Like it would have been really rough, right? But I wanted to know, I never really asked you this question, but I wanted to know what it was like for you on your side seeing your brother get mashed up, like just being in the hospital.
Honestly, I was annoyed. I was annoyed. Like, okay, so the being a nurse, you see people sick all the time. So I was like, while somebody might be like, oh my gosh, you know, I experienced that, oh my gosh, you're sick. But I also was like, okay, like I got over that pretty quickly, right?
First day.
I got over that pretty quickly. I was like, okay, you know, whatever. He's sick, blah, blah. And so I always go, I don't, like, you know this, I always go into this mode. So, like, this is the situation, now I have to survive. Like, I think that just kicks in, and I'm like, whatever it takes, I'm going to do. So I wasn't really thinking, like, oh, you know, yes, I was sad, obviously, but that was, like, at the back. I was like, I need to go and terrorize somebody. I need to call my lawyer. I need to document. I need to knock down somebody's door. I need to, like, that is what I was thinking.
No, honestly, for real, she held it down because if she didn't come, they would have been taking advantage of me, completely taking advantage of me, right?
I called a lawyer. I was
right
like,
away.
because people think, especially, like, you know, I think if you're black that you have to go and be like ghetto, and I was like, that's not the way I work. I'm like, I'm gonna be sophisticated, I'm gonna be well spoken, and I'm going to call a lawyer and come for you.
Yeah.
So that is what I did.
Yeah, because a lot of the coaches were saying that they were talking to me, you know, having conversations with me that I was okay, but they weren't conversing with me. They didn't come. I was in there, like, pretty much like, if she didn't come, I actually don't know who would have came to the hospital.
To help you?
Like, really, because no one kind of came. There was the school didn't know any of that stuff, right? So I really appreciated you coming, you know, she was bringing me rotisserie chicken, you know. They're not the hospital food, you know.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie, you know, normally when I see my sister, like, it's not like I'm not happy, but, you know, it's just like yeah, whatever. But this time I was waiting, like, I was waiting for her to come. I was excited for her to come. So, honestly, so this is a quick shout out. I actually really appreciate what you did for me in the hospital. You know,
I know she's gonna drop the stairs
because
damn.
I don't even have time. Like, he put me through so much stress. I'm just like, yeah, okay.
So yeah, but I actually do really appreciate that. I know Ori wants to ask you a question.
Me? I do. So it's kind of like we're just going back. So you already went through the first, you know, going into the first, like, abusive relationship and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And, like, I feel like you actually give like, anyone going through an abusive relationship, like, she gives some good advice. You should
100%.
take it.
100%.
So you went through a different one, I'm guessing. You went through, like, after that.
So what happened is I moved. So I told you that the self-work only happened a few years ago.
Yeah.
So I moved, but I didn't do any self-work. I was just like, oh, I moved, so I'll be good. So I thought it was not my problem. It was their problem.
Yeah.
So that's why I got into another one.
Yes, I know, and you kept piling.
Yeah, and then I not piling and piling.
Oh, my bad. Sorry. My bad.
Check your words.
My bad. Sorry. Sorry.
Two,
My bad.
but okay.
My bad. Hey, my bad. I apologize. My bad. So, what was the last one that happened, or like the last situation or relationship that you had that really did it for you? That made you question? Because, like, it takes a lot to happen for you to actually question yourself.
Yeah.
It just doesn't happen over time. Like, you have to go through, like, a certain stuff that really makes you be like, okay, like, what am I doing wrong?
I started getting sick. Like, I think I was so stressed out. I would, like, break out. I just was sick all the time, didn't feel well. And I was like, one day I was like, if I don't get out of this, like, I might die. That was my thought.
Damn.
Wow.
So then I had to, again, fight in a different way. And so that fighting was, like, sometimes, like, your family and your friends and the people close to you are the ones you kind of need to get away from. So in that relationship, like I was close with his family and all that stuff, and I had to like cut dry everybody, like no explanation, even though people were saying like bad things about me. And I wanted to defend myself.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just have to let it go. Like, don't even defend yourself. Just the bigger thing is to let people say their negative thing, let people misunderstand you, and you cut them off dry. And yeah, that's what I do.
Nice.
That's what I had to do.
Nice. So I guess you had to take like big steps for you to grow. So you had to, what's that word? Is that saying in order for you to grow, you need to let some people, like let some weight go?
Yeah,
yeah.
that is true. Cut.
Nice.
What
Nice.
would, from the obstacles that you face, encountered in your life, what would you say was the most difficult obstacle that you face, and kind of what have you learned from that?
The most difficult obstacle I face is with myself. Like, everything out there that like the physical things that happen are nothing in comparison to dealing with myself every day. Like, sometimes I just be like, I hate myself. Like, I just like, why did you make me, God? And so the struggle of my mind of like overcoming who I am, even though the people close, I had to like distance myself from the people close to me. So even you, I had to like push you away because you were like just taking advantage of me. I had to push my parents away. I had to I had to push people that are closest to you
Yeah.
are also damaging you because as I said, I grew up Christian, so I could never fully express myself.
Yeah.
So I had to like kind of I don't want to say tell my parents off, but I had to be like, listen, like, you need to let me be me.
Yeah.
That was the hardest thing ever that I had to do.
Okay. Well, I'm guessing like going through those struggles kind of made you who you are right now. I'm guessing.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so I noticed I cut it when you were saying you had to push the family away. You said you had to push him away because it was taking advantage of you. So I'm curious, like, how has life been with this man as your brother?
The greatest.
Drop the juice.
The greatest.
Be honest.
Honestly, I felt like a mother. Like, I was, at first, I had to apologize to him because I was so mean to him. I was very resentful, and it wasn't his fault, but I was only like 20-something, and I felt like I had, because my parents were not around, they were back home, so it was
Yeah.
just me and him. And all of a sudden, I had this like teenager to take care of, who was like totally reckless, irresponsible. He would steal the car. He would like not show up for school. I'd have the principal calling me like, "Oh, he isn't in school," and I'm
Damn.
trying to leave for work, and I'm like, "I don't have time for this, man." Like, yo, and like then he started like running girls, and like plus he's messy, like
Damn.
plus.
Damn.
Shit, right here, just putting on a
Roasty
So
ass.
I was
Rotisserie right
so resentful. I was like, and he just wouldn't get it. Like, all of us in the family are stubborn. We're all extremely stubborn. So that doesn't go well. I'm super stubborn. He's stubborn. We had fights. Like, I thought like
serious.
we were gonna kill each other. Like, I was ready to no word of a lie.
Yo, she's
Like,
lucky.
I know how to
love
push
her.
his buttons.
She does, like no other.
I
like
do.
No other, like
and
no other man.
I do, and I push his buttons.
I remember.
And
Nah, say what you remember.
yeah, so I had to.
So I lived with Arlene for like a period of time, and Arlene kicked me out of the house, right?
Which was a very difficult thing for me to do.
But at that moment, I was so mad because I couldn't understand. I was like, how can my sister kick me out? Like, she knows I have nowhere to go. She knows,
Wait, can I say something? This was his thinking, and this is why, like, ladies with guys, because I was his sister, he felt entitled to me.
100%.
He felt like I wasn't a person. I was just there for his benefit. And I could see it in his actions. He'd be like, oh, do I have to ask you to use your car? Like, your car is mine. And I'd be like, what? Do I have to clean up? I don't have to clean up. You clean up. Like, and I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it that I was like, and of course he didn't know the thing with all my relationships. I was like, this is how guys are. Like, I just thought like, oh, this is how men are. Like, I'm just an object. So then I had to be like, no, I have to do the same thing. If he's going to treat me like this, he's no different from any of these other guys. He's manipulating me. So I had to be like, cut.
Cold, yo, it was cold. Cause what happened was I remember it. I'll never forget. Because I remember like that's the week I was telling you that
You're like, I'm gonna sleep in my car. And I'm like, sleep in your car. Sleep in your car.
I had broke my thumb, right? I broke my thumb in football, and I lost my job that same day. You know, I was doing a landscaping job at that time, and so I was doing a landscaping job, and because my thumb was broken, they had to give me a full cast. So now, like, the guy's like, yo, we don't have jobs for one-handed people. So he's like, yo, you can't work. So I got fired, right? So now I'm home. I'm by my sister's house. I'm not making. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. There was like months, like maybe like 3, 4, 5 months in a row. I'm asking Arlene for rent. Like, I'm like a bum. Like, not like every single month. I'm like, yo, I don't have enough money for rent. I don't have enough money for rent. I don't have enough money for rent, right? And I just expected her to pay for it.
Yeah.
Which when I think about it now is like crazy. It's like if if we live together and you're like, oh, yo, I don't have money for rent, pay for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, not just 1 month, but like consistently.
Yeah.
Right? So I was there in the house, and I wasn't doing anything. I was, down on myself. I was like, oh, my
He
thumb
wasn't
is
even
broken.
like cleaning
I
or
wasn't
like
cleaning,
washing
the
cooking,
dishes,
nothing.
nothing. And she was gone to work all day. She comes back home, nothing's done. I'm just bumming around. There's 10 dishes in the sink. There's whatever, the house is dirty. And I remember I think she told my parents. She told my parents, and they called me, and I was like, yo, why you tell mom and dad about this, whatever? Why you tell them about it? And we had a little bit of beef. And then she's like, yo, if you don't pay your start paying rent by like September or something like that.
And you wanted to bring girls in, and I said that's not happening in here. So if you want to do that, you need to leave.
But you end up bringing
Got
girls?
needs, yo.
Probably, yeah. Well, yes, because I found stuff around the house.
Damn.
And I was like, nah, not in this house. Bye.
But honestly, it was honestly what happened.
Just clean your ass out, bro.
So honestly, what happened was, I remember one day she came home, right, and I was actually looking for jobs at this time. I was looking for some jobs. She didn't know the progress that was happening. I was getting some interviews and stuff like that.
Don't touch me even, yo. Get your hand off me.
I was getting some interviews and, getting some traction. But she just came home and, she just like snapped. She just came in. She was just like, I was washing the dishes too. I was washing the dishes. I was like, you know what? Let me make a difference now because I've been slacking. I understood what she said. You know what? I talked to one of my cousins. They kind of gave me, I talked to Alana, she kind of gave me some insight. She's like, yo, you're a bum. Like, you got to fix up. I'm like, okay. I'm like, you know what? You're right.
Shout out to Alana.
Shout out to Alana. Yeah. So, I started cleaning the dishes. But then she came home. She was like, yo, so what's up? Like, what's the plan? I'm like, yo, well, right now I'm probably going to need an extra month or two because I'm applying to jobs, but no one's hiring me. I only have one hand. No one is really hiring me.
Yeah.
And then she was like, so you don't have any friends you can stay by? And I was like, well, why would you ask me that after I just told you what I just told you?
Yeah.
She's like, I don't care. So I was so mad because I figured, oh, this is my sister. How can she kick me out, right? And it's that entitlement feeling. I was like, yo, she's my sister. She shouldn't kick me out. What the hell? How can she kick me out? She kicked me out. I remember I had I had my laundry basket next to it full of clothes. It was in my driver's seat.
Damn.
I was in my car, and I had to call one of my boys. I was like, hey, man. I was like, my sister just kicked me out. I was all mad. I was like, your sister just kicked me out. I don't know if she could do this to me. I was like, can I stay by your house? Shout out to the boy, Eric, my dog. Dog, I love you, dog. So he
saved you.
He saved me. He was like, you know what? My dad is in Africa right now, but he's gonna come back at the end of the week. But you can stay at my house until Friday. I'm like, okay, cool. And then I called one of my other boys. You know, I was like, hey, man, can I stay at your place
After
after Friday? He's like, yeah, for sure. No problem, no problem, right? So, so, I went to Eric's house, and literally, Eric, like, took care of me like he was my father, dog. Meals, meals, I'm eating from him, sleeping on the couch, whatever. Shout out to Jaden, too. It was me, Jaden, and Eric, and eating on the couch, whatever. And I actually remember, I'll never forget. I remember she, like I was saying, I had to sleep in my car for about 3 days, and then my brother, Zoe, my brother was like, he's like, I kind of talked to him. I called him, and he was like, so, what do you mean Arlene kicked you out? He was mad. He's like, what do you mean Arlene kicked you out? And I was like, I don't know, man. She kicked me out, She's on, her BS, whatever like that. Kicked me out. And then he's like, all right. He's like, I got you. He's like, yo. So he sent me $500. Sent me $500. He's like, yo, get a like a room. Get a room for the month or something like that. Get a room. And I'm going to try and organize a job for you because we had worked at this previous place, right? Yeah. And he was still working there, I believe, so he knew the boss. So he's like, yo, I'm going to hook you up with a job. Like, he's like, I'm going to get you the job. I'm going to call them, talk to them, and figure it out for you. So I went looking for houses. I went to McDonald's because I had nowhere to stay now because I had to leave Eric's house. So I went to the McDonald's and I was there all day on my laptop with the laundry basket in the passenger seat in the McDonald's. Just couldn't even buy. I was in the McDonald's. I couldn't even buy nothing when I was hungry. To say, so I'm there, looking for houses. Then I found one. It was, I think, $450, right? $450. So I went there. I called the lady. I'm like, hey, I want the house right now. She's like, okay. I went there and I was like, hey. So she said, well, it's 450 damage deposit right now and plus rent, right? And I was like, yeah, I only have 450 and I can't even give you the full 450. I can only give you 400 because I need this other $100. But I will pay you. I'll have it in increments. I'll pay you when I have this job. Everything I'll pay you. I didn't even have a job yet. So I went there. I remember I was moving my bags into this place, right? This place was like a crack house. Like, it was like the door wasn't even a real door. It was a screen door. Damn. So the doors are closed, the lock at night. It was a screen door. Damn. Right? So she's laughing. Yo. Anyway, it was a screen door, right? Yeah. And I lived with these two ladies, right? A daughter and a lady and her daughter, right? And I remember when I came in, I was moving my stuff in. The lady was like, you don't have a bed or anything like that? And I was like, no. I didn't have a bed or nothing. Damn. And I was going to sleep. I was going to pile up my clothes and use it as a pillow to sleep on, right? I sleep on the floor. And she was like, I have a yoga mat. You want a yoga mat? I was like, yeah, I would love a yoga mat. She brought me a yoga mat. So, like, for the first little bit, I was sleeping on the yoga mat. And with that $50, the $100 that I had, I got the job. I got the call from the guys. They gave me a job for the next day, start that next day. So I had $50 for gas and $50 for groceries. So I went and I bought my groceries. I remember I bought the groceries. And when I bought the groceries, I came back home and I went to practice. When I came back, half of my groceries were gone. The lady and her daughter went into my groceries and started eating my groceries. And I asked the daughter, I asked the mother, I was like, did you eat my groceries? She's like, oh, no, it wasn't me. She's like, it must have been my daughter. I'm like, okay. So then I asked the daughter, and the daughter was like, well, it's not my fault. I'm like, what do you mean it's not your fault? You didn't buy the food. Like, bro, my cheese, half. My eggs, half. My juice, half. My bread, half. My milk, half. So I let it slide for that time. But it happened again. But eventually I was able to move out. But long story short, though, in hindsight, I'm actually very happy that she kicked me out. Like, in immediate, I hated her. I was pissed. Yeah. I was pissed because I didn't understand how she could do it. But in the long run, if she didn't do that, if she didn't show me that tough love, I would have never tried to, I'm still not at the point where I have all my shit together. But I wouldn't even be at this point right now if it wasn't for what she did. Because she really made me understand that, yo, if I wasn't here, I remember the one thing she told me, she's like, yo, you're taking advantage of me. And I was like, how? And she's like, if I wasn't here, you would have to figure this out. But I was like, yeah, but you're here. And she's like, yeah, that's what I mean. Like, if I wasn't here, you would have to figure this shit out. Yeah. So figure it out. And from that, that helped me a lot because realistically, bro, like, you come from all the way from Nigeria, coming here. You're coming here, you're by yourself. Yeah, you have family back home, but realistically, bro, you're by yourself here. And not all the time they're going to be able to help you. Yes, I have my sister here, but, bro, she has her own life, her own responsibilities. So not every time she's going to be able to help me. Maybe if I'm really, really stranded, yes, maybe. But, like, at the end of the day, I have to figure it out for myself. My own. You have to be responsible 100% for yourself.
Yeah, on your own.
On your own. So that's just what I learned. That was a little bit of an experience. But back to you, Arlene. So what are you doing currently now? Like, where are you now in your life and in your journey? And, I know you're a very creative person. People out there who don't know, maybe tell us some of the things that you may be working on. And let us know what's up.
So right now I'm just focusing on writing, and it's through like reading different books, seeing different videos that really helped me with my self-esteem and confidence and etc. And so I decided to focus writing on that, like hoping that maybe I can inspire somebody out there.
Okay.
So I'm writing on Thought Catalog, Medium, a magazine. So that's my goal, is just to inspire women. I'm still doing nursing, but I've been doing travel nursing, so I have the flexibility to kind of nurse and be creative and also work with indigenous people, which like on reserves, which I also love. And so I have, I think, great things coming. So yeah,
don't worry, guys. We're gonna add the link to our Instagram.
All the links to Instagram, our articles. So what kind of articles do you write about? I know you're talking about women empowerment, but what other kind of things do you mention in your articles, just for people out there who might be wondering, who might be interested in kind of searching those things up?
I talk a lot about personal growth. I talk about mindset. I talk about how you might feel in a certain situation. So like if someone is like maybe in an abusive relationship, some of the things that you may feel that other people might not understand. Like if you're feeling depressed, I write about like how you might feel in that situation. Anxiety, like lots of mental health things and things that like women could relate to, like, if your man's acting up, stuff like that.
This woman's out here roasting man.
She got some lots of provocative titles, to her articles. What is it? One of them called? The payment methods for
Pussy ain't free. Here are accessible.
There you go.
Payment
Pussy ain't
methods.
free. Acceptable payment methods.
Now give us a rundown of that, please. I'm curious.
No, you gotta go read it.
Come on, just give us a quick synopsis. Like, doesn't have to be long. Just give us like 1, 2, and 3. Break it down.
Basically, what I said in the beginning, how men complain that they have to do things for women. A woman is going to benefit your life. Any way you cut it, we will. Maybe you haven't picked the right one, but it comes at a price. And I'm not. People think it's
streets. You gotta
people.
sacrifice the
People
streets,
think it's always financial, but that's not even what I mean. Like, are you gonna spend the time? Are you gonna do the personal work? Like, there's something that goes into it. And I also want to say, like, stuff comes across as man bashing, and that is not what I stand for, and that's not what I write about. It's not about man bashing. I believe that like men are needed. Like, we complement each other, and you have to see value in men. But it's just like nowadays it's few and far between. So I wouldn't say like don't give up hope. There are like guys out there. We are the ones that have to choose. Like, we have to choose the good ones.
We're out there. We're waiting.
Okay.
So,
okay. Yeah, we have to choose the good ones.
I don't want to dive.
What?
I don't want. I was gonna dive into
I
this.
did not say anything.
It be your, you know what it be? It be your own people, yo. It be your own people, yo.
So
be your own people.
Akil knows this. I dive a lot into when it comes to like female nature and like male nature and like talking about like the compliments. I do have a question for you, which is, Hey, this is just my perspective. Just question. I'm going on. So you mentioned about men choosing and women. Women choosing.
Yes.
My question is this is a broad question.
Hit them. I know you want to say hit them.
Male and female, like, who's the prize? Be honest. Like this is a very, like I said, this is unfiltered.
My brother.
I'll tell you why I think the way I think, and I want to know why you think the way you think. So, who do you think it is? Like in the sense of male and female, everyone has value. But my question, because you said women choose, so I'm curious to know, would you think is the prize, male or female, and why?
Well, this is the exact problem. We're asking questions like, who would you think is the prize?
Yeah.
Which goes into we're objects, right? Like we complement each other.
Yeah.
So
When I say prize, I'm not talking about like, oh, females don't have value. That's not what I'm saying. Females do have value. Guys do have value. But the question is, there's levels to it. In this day and age, not a lot of females bring value, if you get what I mean. In the sense of everyone's in the street, everyone's going around.
okay.
As a guy, okay, I'll ask you a question. This is going out of conversation. How many % of guys do you think are out there, like, getting most of the ladies? How many % do you think? Out of 100%,
I don't think a lot, maybe like
20%, no, 10%.
yeah.
Those are guys in the top 10. That's guys
Exactly.
6 feet, making six figures.
Yeah.
Making, I don't want to use that word,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I don't use other six, but the 666. But the point I'm trying to make is, I get what you. I like the way you think, because not a lot of people think the way you think in the sense of like it's compliment. Everyone's always thinking, oh, I'm the female, you have to do this for me.
Yeah.
But they don't realize that, yo, you have to do stuff too. Because I always ask this question: if I'm talking to somebody, minus sex, what do you bring to the table?
Yeah.
I don't get into these conversations.
No.
Wait.
Okay, there you go. Sorry, my bad.
I write about, stuff about female, and I always get guys coming to me with like this type of stuff, and I don't entertain it just because that's not my focus. I'm not trying to focus fighting about like who's the prize and this. I think that's like a mute conversation. That's a power struggle. You're trying to have a power struggle with me, and I'm not having that.
Oh, no.
No.
Okay,
Just
my
what?
bad,
No, I'm
my
not
bad.
saying like you specifically
go,
personally,
my bad, yeah.
but I'm saying like when it comes to these topics, we always go into like a power struggle and a fight, and I decided I'm gonna like stop entertaining that.
Okay.
Like I'm gonna do my thing, and if a guy is out there who like sees value in me that I don't have to explain what I bring to the table, then I'm good. Other than that, I'm not. No.
No, 100%. Like that's why I said from the get-go that I like what you make. In the sense of you're talking about like everyone knowing that what's that word? There's value in both parties.
Yeah.
You're not like specific saying, oh, woman, you're this, you're that, or guy is this. That's why it falls back to me saying, I love what you make. Even if I've not read it, like from the way you're talking, where you mentioned that, oh, you're not into men bashing. Especially in this day and age, there's a lot of bashing going on towards guys. So that's why I value what you make, and I'm pretty sure you have a lot of gems in what you do. So what am I trying to get to? I'm trying to get to the point of like, I appreciate what you make because you're different. That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Okay, well, just say that then. Jeez.
No. Like I just wanted to like, go around because like I said, it falls out to the same stuff. There's a lot of there's a lot of toxic. Oh my God, there's a lot of toxic shit out there.
I know guys come after me on my posts, like telling me their story, they're divorced, their wife took all their money, and they're like coming to try to attack me, and I'm like, I'm sorry that happened to you, but
That's life.
Hey.
So, Arlene, from all the experiences that you've had, all the obstacles that you have faced up to this point in your life, right? What would you say is your definition of the grind? What's your theory of the grind?
Hitter.
The grind is staying authentic to yourself. That's what's pulled me through, is that I had to find out who I was, stay true to it, even though everyone else is doing something different. That's what makes you unique. And then, so it's one thing, so you have that personality, and the thing I always tell to you all the time is taking responsibility and being consistent. and mindset. Like
Mm.
those three things,
Because they're
and
from
you're
the
good to
Don.
go for life.
The Don.
Donness.
The Donness.
You're hearing it from the Donness. No, I think what you said is key. Working on yourself is very key because you have to figure out who you are to know where you want to go and how you
Facts.
want to move forward. If you don't know,
Facts.
if I don't know, like Giannis
Antetokounmpo.
Antetokounmpo, right?
Yeah.
He was saying that he was like, they're like, oh, you have weaknesses in your game, like you can't shoot that well, you're kind of flawed, right? And he was like, but that's okay because he's like, I know my weaknesses, so I can improve on them. He's like,
Yeah.
if I didn't know my weaknesses, then I'd be
worried.
afraid.
Yeah.
So knowing yourself and knowing what your weaknesses are and knowing what you have to work on and get better at, I think is great. And I think you learn those things through experiencing life and different obstacles in life.
Facts.
And Jesus.
And Jesus, 100%. You can't do anything without God, for real. That's a big thing.
Facts.
And I think that consistency is definitely key because in anything that you do, if you want to see results, if you stay consistent, it doesn't matter if the result is good or bad, you will see results if you stay consistent.
Yeah.
Right?
True. Facts.
So I think that's really big. So I love that definition of the theory of the grind. So right now, we have a new segment that we want to introduce into the Grind Theory podcast, just to add a little bit of fun, after we've had serious
Just joke
conversations
around,
like
yeah.
this, just to joke around.
Yeah, but me and Nadia was went at each other. And
You
shit
guys
stuff
kind of
like
went.
that.
You guys kind of went at
Like,
each other.
"Don't
You know what
come
I'm
for
saying? So this is just a would you rather segment. So we're just gonna ask a would you rather question to our guest. Just something fun. It could be kind of anything. It might be something more serious sometimes. It might be something super funny, super kind of whatever.
Yeah.
A would you rather question. Or do you have one or
I don't want to. Nah, she's gonna chop my head off if I ask it. No.
Go ahead. No, don't be scared of me.
Nah, no.
Don't be scared.
Let's see. Might be a superficial one, but would you rather go back in time to change yourself from going through those experiences you went through, or let's see, I'm trying to see what's the second I can ask you, or would you rather make yourself go through what you went through? So which would you choose? Like you knew, like right now as you are, would you go back in time to change everything you went through in the past, or would you just let it be?
I would let it be. I would let it be.
Why so?
Wow.
Because that's how I was formed through the fire, and now I rise like the phoenix, yo.
Saying she's a beast.
That's the energy.
You see
the Ambrose
you see
energy.
the Ambrose side. It's in our blood. You know what I'm saying? It's in our blood. Okay, I'm just gonna ask you: would you rather? Would you rather Would you rather be with a man that has all the qualities that you want, but he is broke, right? But he's broke. Or would you rather be with a man that is extremely rich, but he's abusive?
Okay,
But
that's
no, not abusive, but
abusive, but,
not
like,
abusive,
doesn't have the
but
traits.
he doesn't have the traits that you want. But he's
desire.
rich, but he's able to provide for you
Anything you want.
anything that you
Want
want.
a trip to Dubai, you're off.
I'd rather be single.
Nah, come on,
That's
that's not an
not-
option. That's not an option. Come on, there has to be one.
It's one of the two. We want to
Yeah.
see what's
Okay,
really in your heart, you know.
But maybe you should specify the brokenness too. It's not broke like broke, but
He's
it
broke.
Come on, now.
Okay, so he's broke. He ain't got no money, but he's.
But he has all the qualities. He's a nice guy,
Cooks.
everything. He cooks, all the
care
good
of
qualities
you,
that you want.
everything
He's
you want.
caring, he's
Yeah.
loving, he's kind,
Gives you attention.
gives you attention. But he has to give you attention because he has no job and stuff like that.
Okay.
All he has is time.
Yeah,
Whereas you have this rich guy that is extremely rich. He's doing well for himself,
but it's busy.
but he's busy. He doesn't have time for you. He treats like he just
Spoils you. Sends you on trips.
sends you on trips.
Sends you money to buy the new cars.
We want to know really if
Rearrange
money,
That
if
is
it's
that is hard, actually.
Why so?
That's a hard question.
I thought it's
Because-
about what's in here.
Yeah.
No. I did I say that?
No,
I never actually said that.
We thought. You just
Can't live on. Okay, because females, we get unhappy and agitated and you don't know why is because you're struggling. There's a struggle. If a guy can't provide and he's nice, then what
What the hell?
what are you doing?
Okay. So pretty much you choose the rich man.
I'm not gonna. I
Can't.
I can't answer it.
She's scared. She's
I'm
scared.
not scared, but it's literally.
No, like you gotta remember, like this question is not reality.
This is just a what,
It's just-
would you
The
rather?
reason I'm asking is because like people say money doesn't matter.
Who people?
No, you. Not you. Not you.
Not me.
Not you. I'm not using you. I'm not using you. But
Okay.
I'm just trying to show the perspective that as a
Oh,
man,
man.
you need to be financially stable.
Yes, you do.
Good. So even if you can be nice, you can like still be nice, still be good, still be respectful, but you need to be at least stable.
Yes.
So you choose a rich man.
I decline to answer.
Wow. Well, our
mean,
first Would You Rather segment has to come to a draw because
She doesn't want to give the
the
answer.
answer is too difficult. We all know what the
We all know
answer
the answer
is.
is.
We know
anyways.
what the
We know
answer
the
is.
like,
But, she doesn't want to say it on air, so I guess.
I would totally say it on air, but it's not.
so I'm guessing you want the perfect package then. The stable man and the respect.
There he goes again, trying to put words into
No,
my
I'm
mouth.
asking. It's a question. No, listen, it's a question.
Trying to segue this.
No, it's a question.
This is my podcast.
Oh, hey. Yeah, we give it the power. Kind of give it the power. To go a little bit.
She's the Donness for the day.
Donness for
So, kind of closing off the podcast today, I just want to ask you kind of one last question, right? If you were to have to leave this earth, or to leave something behind, right, for either your family or for your loved ones, what are 3 lessons about life that you would leave for someone else
Jam.
to get through their struggles and their obstacles, or just life in general? What are the three key things that you've learned so far from your life that you would absolutely leave for that person? 3 messages.
One is that you're only as good as what you think in your mind.
Ooh.
Preach.
Ooh.
Hot.
Dropping gems.
2, as I preach this nonstop, take responsibility, 100% responsibility
Okay.
for your life. Or that was 2, right? And
Yeah.
3 was know when to fall back and know when to attack.
The jam.
Yeah.
The Donness.
So there you have it, guys.
You heard it live.
We heard it live
The Grind
from the
Theory.
one and only. Want to thank Arlene Ambrose for coming on, the Donness, coming on, sharing her knowledge, sharing some of her
Now,
struggles
bop, bop, bop.
that she come through, that she had, roasting me a little bit.
Shout out Rihanna, please. Like,
Shout out to
follow me.
Rihanna, you know what I'm saying? We really, really appreciate her coming on and sharing all that information, and I really hope that what she says and the gems that she's dropped today will help somebody out there who's either struggling or going through their own struggles. Maybe that one little tip that she said, something from what she said and what she's been through, will help you in your journey. Make sure you guys go like and subscribe to the Island Grind Network, where you can find the Island Grind podcast. You can find it on all streaming platforms: Spotify, Apple, Amazon, Stitcher, Heart Radio, all the kingdom. All of them, they have that on their YouTube. If you want to see the visual, you want to see our face, you want to see, the roast, everything like that, the memes. I don't know if we have any memes, but we'll find some for her.
I have a meme of you.
Damn. Yo, it be your, you know what I learned from this episode? It be your own people. It be your own people who come get you, man.